Good evening, everyone. It's 6:39. I'll call the meeting to order. This meeting is being recorded. The meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Enosburg Falls is being conducted electronically in order to ensure the safety of all attendees and to maintain compliance with Governor Scott's executive order. Per H681 signed into law on March 30th, 2020, Section 6, there's a temporary suspension of designated physical meeting location requirements of Vermont's open meeting law, VSA Section 312A1. In order to ensure that all attendees can hear clearly, your audio may be muted. When you wish to speak, you can raise your hand in the participant list or by submitting a chat request, or if you called in by pressing *9. Once acknowledged by the chair, please clearly state your name and then proceed with your question or comment. Please remember that when unmuted, all participants can hear any sounds in your environment. Again, this meeting is being recorded. All right, so it's my understanding that we're missing Leonard, but I'll take a roll call of the other trustees in attendance. Sandy?
I'm here.
Heather?
Here.
Eli?
Here.
All right, that's all of us. Okay, first up, modifications and changes to the agenda. Does anybody have anything to modify or change?
No.
Hearing nothing, we'll move on to public comment. Is there anybody here from the public who wishes to speak tonight?
Yes, but we're on the agenda, right?
Yeah, we got you.
Just checking.
Did you see that Jim had a question?
Yep, I see Jim. Even Jim.
Hi, guys. Could you put the agenda up? I tried to find it on the website and couldn't click on it. It just went to archives. Just read it off what's on it if you wouldn't mind. If you can put it on screen, great, but I couldn't find
Ken,
it.
are you able to do that?
I don't have one, John.
I'll just read it quick. So first we have modifications and changes. Second, public comment. 3, review and approval for minutes May 25th. 4, Lincoln Park permit request with Enosburg Falls Middle School. 5, Enosburg Falls High School request to hold parade. 6, Lincoln Park permit request, Town of Enosburg Rec movie night. 7, Town of Enosburg Rec Department request for sign on Lincoln Park. Number 8, Lincoln Park permit request, Cat Crusaders of Franklin County. Number 9, Public Works Department project status report. 10, Village Facilities public access discussion. 11, Village signatory resolutions. 12, Manager's report. 13, other business, then adjourn.
Thank you.
Did you have anything that you wanted to add?
I would just have some things for public comment, please.
Sure.
Is that meaning I should do that now, Sam?
Yeah, there's public comments right now, yeah.
Okay, but it's very quick. It seems like Lincoln Park is the center of the universe tonight. And then to let you know that Friday is a typical work. We schedule the second Friday of the month for the initiative to get together to do projects in the community. And that's this Friday. And this Friday, we're going to be setting the granite in Lincoln Park for the Doughboy for its return. And then we're also going to be putting in the bike repair stations. And then thirdly, we're going to be working on the Opera House Tower formally. We're going to start tearing that apart above the eaves at the Opera House and getting that work going.
Hey Jim.
Thank you.
Jim, just remember Friday
Yes.
they're having an 8th grade graduation on Lincoln Park on Friday.
Not
Well,
until
great
5
to know.
p.m.
I didn't know.
What's that?
Not until 5 p.m. though.
Okay, 5 p.m. Okay.
Yeah, so there'll be folks setting up.
Not till,
the
yeah. Thank you. Thank you both. That's great to know. I'm glad that's why we're talking, and we'll be done early. We'll be done by noon. And there won't be any mess. We're not leaving any mess or anything like that. Okay?
Thank you, Jim.
Thank
All right,
you.
looks like
That's
Leonard
it.
just
Thank you.
joined us.
I'll look-
Leonard, can you hear us? Maybe. Leonard, can you hear us? All right, well, he's figuring that out. Is there any other public comment tonight? Hearing none, I will move on to review and approval for minutes, May 25th, 2021. Did everyone get a chance to look those over?
Yes.
And if there were no errors or omissions, I will hear a motion to accept them.
I move we accept.
Sandy with the first, is there a second?
I'll second.
Heather with the second. All those in favor of accepting the minutes for May 25th, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, up next, Lincoln Park permit request, Enosburg Falls Middle School.
Right.
So
So
I-
Maggie
oh.
and I see, Leonard, you have your hand up?
I think he's turning his audio back on.
Oh, okay.
Joseph
So
and I
Ma-
are here to speak for Rachel, but
Yeah, Rachel could not be here again this evening. So we're here to represent her. Basically, the proposed use of Lincoln Park on Friday, the 11th is between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. It's it's only 1 hour, very small crowd, group of students and some parents, relatives. And they will be using the tent that we will be using the following day.
as
So
well,
there's no additional things for that. Maggie, were you going to say something?
yeah, I think Jonathan has the permit request for a bandstand as well, for their use.
Yeah, the permit is in the board's packet material, so all the board members have a copy of the permit. The only comment I have is, just the conditions that are, within the ordinance that the board may want to think about regarding a fee or insurance coverage for the event. I don't know if the high school's insurance would also cover the middle school. The high school did send over a certificate of insurance for your graduation ceremony. If maybe the insurance coverage would apply also for the middle school.
Yes, it's district-wide insurance.
Okay, so that answers that question.
And you should have a copy of the certificate that we sent over
He does.
for that coverage. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it would cover both the middle school and the high school.
No major changes from what we had talked about last meeting.
If anything, smaller, actually. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but I have no problem accepting this with the requirement that proper insurance is provided. And I don't feel that we should put a insurance fee on here.
I agree.
Agreed.
All right, can I get a motion to accept this permit?
I'll make
I
the
move
motion.
we accept.
Heather, I heard first. Sandy, do you have second?
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, that's unanimous.
Thanks, folks.
Yes.
We have Enosburg Falls High School request to hold parade.
Also,
Yes.
that I sent Jonathan a typed up plan because Jim Lynch, our SRO, requested it, and it seemed like a good way of sharing the plan with you all as well. I don't know, Jonathan, if you shared that with the entirety of the trustees.
Yes, everything you sent me, the map with the outlined area where the parade would take place and the text within your email are also included in the board's packet. So all board members have a copy of that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think it's, it's up to discretion of the board. This is, not for us an unusual request. We normally, the only parades we've ever really had in the community were the Dairy Festival parade. And then a few years ago, we started doing a winter festival parade that the Enosburg Business Association put on, which was a very small route. But, for the middle of December, kind of an interesting event to have in a community. So this is, a new type of event for the community. You guys indicated last meeting that you actually wanted to do this on an annual basis now. So the board, I think just as they do both with the Dairy Festival and the EBA Winterfest Parade, that will have to be considered on an annual basis and will be at the discretion of the Board of Trustees. But yeah, you guys did this last year. It seemed to be successful. I can't recall, getting any, complaints or calls from people that were distressed about the parade in any way. So
John, I heard a lot of positive feedback. It was so
Yeah.
uplifting.
It
It was
was.
great.
And given how crippled the Enosburg community has become because of COVID, I think we need every positive outreach we can get our hands on to get this community back to being alive again.
Thank you very much,
We'll
Sandy.
do it for another parade.
Yeah, that's the feedback that we received post-parade as well. So I appreciate, Sandy, you're bringing that up.
There's certainly a motion amongst the students to just have a parade and chuck their diplomas at their car windows.
I feel like I would
Like a
like
good
that
idea
when
for
I was
their
in high
parents,
school.
But yeah, it went over well.
The turnout from the community was amazing. All along the parade route, folks came out of their homes. They had banners, they had signs, homemade stuff, even for families who had nobody affiliated with the schools at all, or senior citizens whose kids graduated years ago and have moved on were out on their lawns all along the parade route, balloons, banners, all of that kind of stuff. It was very moving to see that. So there will be a request every year coming your way for that.
Well, it sounds like the board is in agreement on this, that it sounds like a pretty good idea. So I'll hear a motion to accept this request.
I'll make the motion.
Heather had the first. Leonard, I can't hear you. You may be muted.
I'll second it.
Sandy
until
with the
Leonard gets
second.
back.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. All right, it's unanimous.
Thanks.
John, just to tag on with this, I think it'd be a great opportunity for I don't know what the village normally does about when there's a road closure like this, but to get it in through the usual channels, Front Porch Forum and Facebook and stuff, just to give people a heads up as soon as possible.
That would be fantastic.
yeah, usually we leave it up to whoever is asking for the parade to take care of whatever things are necessary for
It'll
them
go
to.
on our Facebook page and on our website, but
But-
I don't have access to the Enosburg Front Porch Forum because I don't live there.
But if the board is asking us to take some additional steps, we can post it on our own website. We can post it on our Facebook site.
I can post it on Front Porch Forum
Okay.
if that's
Yeah,
allowed.
EBA has an account on that. I don't think the village has an account on Front Porch Forum.
I have one too, so.
Oh, you have a personal one?
Yeah.
Okay, I know EBA has one. EBA actually set Front Porch Forum up.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And gave them their first money.
But yeah, we can get them posted on those three places if that's what the board would like.
That'd be good.
Wonderful. Okay, well, that's wonderful. So I want to thank all of the members of the Board of Trustees on behalf of the parents and our students, the graduating class of 2021, and our faculty and staff. So again, thank you for opening your minds and your hearts to us one more time. Much appreciated.
Not a problem.
Okay. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, before we go any further, Leonard, I think your headset may be muted. I still can't hear you. You may have a little button on the cord.
That better?
That's a lot better.
Okay.
All right, so we got Leonard now. Okay. So agenda item number 6. Lincoln Park permit request, Town of Enosburg Recreation Department movie night. And I believe that would be Yvonne. Good evening.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Ron.
So I'm here, as you mentioned, on behalf of Enosburg Rec to ask permission to use Lincoln Park for a movie night at the park. We've done this event before back in 2018 and 2019. So what we do is we set up a big blow up screen, and we have a projector, and we just show a movie that's kids friendly for the family. And we were doing it on Tuesdays with the band concerts, but with COVID and everything, and also we've gotten feedback that maybe doing the movie night on Fridays or Saturdays would work better for families. So we moved it to Fridays this year. So we put in the request, and we would like to do movie nights on June 18th, July 16th, and August 20th. I guess I should also mention that we might be giving out popcorn at the movie night event. We actually reached out to the EBA in the past. They have donated popcorn at the event. We're not sure if it's going to happen this year, but we have put in that request with them. So if it does happen, they might be giving out popcorn, and I didn't add that on the form. So
We have to inspect the machine.
oh, what was that?
We have to inspect the machine.
Inspect it? Okay. That's fine. Yeah, I figured, it's been a while since it's been used, so.
So maybe I'll have to show up, make sure it makes good popcorn.
Yes.
It does.
Well, I think it sounds like fun. I don't know what the rest of the board thinks, but I don't
That's
have an
great.
issue with this as long as we have the provision to contact DigSafe before digging any holes or putting in any stakes or anything like that.
Yeah, the only holes are from the blow up screen, and it's like 3 to 4 inch stakes. They're really small.
Okay.
And so I've never called DigSafe. So when I call, do I have to give them anything specific, or I just call and let them know it's at Lincoln Park in Enosburg Falls? And
That may be a question more geared toward Gary. I don't know if you
okay.
are listening, Gary.
Yeah, you have to call DigSafe with a location, and then you put white paint where your stakes are going to be, so they know the location where everything is. I don't think there'll be a problem being that shallow. I mean, most of the stuff is down 3 to 6 feet, so I don't think there'll be any issues. But you probably should, just to be safe.
Okay. So add white paint to where we're going to set up the.
Yeah,
Okay.
and give them a location. Usually a 911 address, or they'll ask you the actual location.
Okay. We can do that. All right.
Gary, do you know if there's what the requirement is for depth?
No, I don't. I think it's just whenever you dig, it's basically you got to call DigSafe.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't have an issue with this. I don't know what the rest of the board feels like, but I'll hear a motion to accept it if you're interested.
Make the motion to accept it.
All right. I heard Leonard first.
I'll second it.
Sandy with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Aye.
John, did you have a question?
Yeah, just again, the question about, do you want to have any fees or insurance coverage as part of the approval for this?
I personally don't feel that would be necessary, but
And the rec
I'm assuming
department
that the
must have insurance.
Recreation Committee has insurance anyway, school, right? Or no. You guys insurance?
Municipal.
We should have the municipal one. Yeah. I can follow up with Billy Joe and just let you guys know what kind of insurance we have. It's been a while since it's been requested from us. But understandably, I would want to know as well. So I will ask Billy Joe. Yeah.
Okay. And what does the board feel about fees? I don't think we need to have any insurance fee on there. Okay.
No.
Looks like we're all in agreement that no fees for this.
No fees.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Vaughn.
Oh, and I'm sorry, one more thing. So this is a separate issue. It's not really an issue, but I wanted to ask for permission to add a directional sign on Lincoln Park. It's a temporary sign. We already asked Jesse from zoning, and he said that we wouldn't need to fill out any forms for it because it's temporary. We are starting our kayak and canoe renting programs starting tomorrow. We have everything already finalized, And we've gotten feedback that people get lost looking for the kayak and canoe rack that is in the Brownway River Trail. So we want to do directional signs, kind of giving people an idea where to go. Since people are registering to use the kayak and canoe at the Flying Disc, that's where we're doing directions from. So, when they leave the Flying Disc, we want to kind of put a sign in Lincoln Park saying, go that way, stay on this Viscoy Street. So it would be one sign. It's about 18 by 24 inches, and it's an H stake sign. So it's like one of the political signs that, during election season, you see on the front porches and stuff. So yeah, it would be temporary. We would take it down sometime like early fall. As soon as it gets too cold to use the kayak and canoes, we'll take it down.
And that's not hanging off the fence, or is it?
No, I'm thinking if it, because it has the H stake, so we would have to put it on the ground and kind of make it close to the road, I guess, but still in the grass, like in that corner of Main Street and Missisquoi, to show people, to turn on Missisquoi, basically.
Okay.
Would it be in the green space? It isn't mowed anyway?
In the green space, yeah, I'm thinking in the green
I was just
space.
thinking about the lawnmower.
Yeah, that was my concern.
Okay.
Jim, did you have a question?
Thank you. Something to add. Yvonne, this weekend on Saturday or Friday morning, the Tri-Horns are going to start setting up a pop-up visitor center at the Masonic Hall. They're going to get organized to do that.
Okay.
So if you have any kind of literature that talks about what you folks are doing, so that'd be a great thing for you to pass on to the Tri-Horns directly.
Okay, I'll do that. Yeah, great.
They're running that show and they're going to do it. Thank you.
Okay.
John?
Just some history. The village has received, or actually usually people have just done it without asking permission. So we do appreciate you, Yvonne, at least asking to put the sign up in Lincoln Park before you do it. But there is some history around the issue, and in the past, at least, the trustees have kind of frowned on people putting signs up in Lincoln Park simply because it is such a central location. It is a park, and sort of, I think the sentiment was, once you open the door to that and start allowing people to put signs up on Lincoln Park, how are you going to justify saying no to anybody? And so I just want to bring that up to the board for your consideration. And I wonder, Yvonne, if you've tried asking some of the private property owners around the downtown area, like the Masonic Temple, for example, which Jim just brought up, and has also got property right on that same corner that you're talking about, whether they would have an issue if you were to put the sign up there. And, if someone like that, if it's private property and they agree to that, then, that could resolve that problem for the village. Just a suggestion, something to think about.
I can speak on behalf of the Masonic Temple. They don't have a problem putting the sign there. That would be fine.
Great. Well, that makes sense what you said, John. It's so if I think it would be this, if we put it in the corner, it would be just across the street. That's the Masonic Temple property too, right in that corner.
Yeah, all the way up to Main.
So, okay, well, that sounds better. So you guys don't have to worry about opening up the issue to other people requesting signs in the park. I understand that. So,
Yvonne, do you think that would work? Because for you, was there a particular reason for Lincoln Park? It's close. Do you think that's close enough for direction?
I'm thinking, well, I'm imagining the corner right off, Main Street, and like right in the corner of the Masonic Temple. I think people can see it when they leave the Flying Disc.
Corner.
Yeah.
And they'll see it coming up Main Street.
Yeah, so it would have to be double-sided. Yeah, I think it should work. I'm trying to think of, what do you guys think?
I think it's a great solution.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with John and kind of opening that precedence, putting signs in the park. But if the Masons are okay with it, and if it works out for you, I think that would be a good solution.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
And can I get your name again from the Masonic Temple? I don't think I
Eli.
Eli? Eli, okay.
Yep.
Can I get your email, I guess, just to kind of email you about it and confirm all the
sure.
details?
So it's Napa, N-A-P-A,
Okay.
Eli, E-L-I,
Mm-hmm.
05450,
05450?
not Enosburg zip code,
Okay.
yahoo.com.
Okay, Napa Eli 05450 @yahoo.com.
That's me.
I'll send you an email to confirm everything.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you, Yvonne.
All right, thank you guys. Have a great night.
You too.
Too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so that took care of agenda item number 7. So I guess we can move on to Lincoln Park permit request for Cat Crusaders of Franklin County.
So Jamie Rushford, the applicant for this, isn't present.
I can
So I'll-
probably speak for her.
Okay, maybe between the two of us, I was gonna fill in a little bit what I know of it, but you
Because I
probably
work at
know,
it.
yeah, you probably know more than I do, Sandy. So as on the application, this is for a rubber duck race in the fountain at Lincoln Park. It would be for a pretty short time. She's only asking for an hour from 11 to 12. And this would be on,
July 31st.
You're muted, John.
I'm sorry, I was muted the whole time I was talking.
No, just for 5 seconds or so.
Oh, I must have hit
Just
the
at the
button.
July part.
Sorry. So, yes, thank you, Sandy. July 31st. She's expecting about 50 people to the event. She did do this last year. And Sandy worked as a volunteer at that. So maybe, Sandy, if you've got some additional information you could share with the
It's-
board.
We bring in, I don't know if we'll still have the big duck this year. Jamie has, I think it's 100, the little yellow rubber ducks. And last year, just for effect, we had a big blow up yellow duck that you could put in your swimming pool. And we put them in the fountain, and then we stirred the water in the fountain all up to get the ducks swimming around. And after they've been going around a couple of times, they pull out a couple, I think it's 3 ducks altogether for the prize winners. And people have bought tickets in order to be able to become a winner. And the money all goes to Franklin County Cat Crusaders, which, as some of you do and maybe some of you don't know, helps to keep the feral cat population in Enosburg Falls down tremendously, because the number of people who still drive by a farm and fling out their pregnant female cat is astounding. And I had no clue as to how hard Jamie Rushford worked until I got a little bit involved with this organization, but it's amazing, just amazing. The number of cats that are neutered. Most of the farmers will take back the cat after it's been fixed, because of course they're good for catching mice. And the kittens go from Newport to St. Albans to Manchester and all go to homes. They're all adopted, and there's money that comes from that. And their staging area for cats is at the old Jarvis barn that now belongs to the Jarvises again. It was Norman and Avis's barn up on the, I think it's called the Horrigan Road. And the roof needs work, and they're raising money for that. And it's an amazing organization. and the rubber ducky race is cute. And we pick the ducks up and we go home. And no ducks are harmed in this race.
So then the only other considerations I think then are, the others that are relevant now for all Lincoln Park applications, whether you want to charge a fee and whether you want the applicant to carry insurance for the event.
Well, I'm sure she probably has insurance, and I certainly can find that out. And I'm afraid I'm gonna be a broken record and say that I don't know that we should ever have a fee unless for some ungodly reason we think we need to use that public park. Sorry.
Same.
Okay, so does anybody want to make a motion to accept the permit with the requirement they carry proper insurance and no fee associated with this permit?
I make the motion, we accept
moved.
it.
All right, I heard Leonard the first. Eli, do you have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay, it's unanimous.
And I will contact Jamie about the insurance.
Perfect, thank you, Cindy.
Forthwith.
All right, where are we here? Okay, up next, Public Works Department Project Status Report. Evening, Gary.
How are you doing?
Good.
So I got a long list here of what we've done so far this spring. So in April, we turned on the water fountain, drinking fountain. We painted all the park benches in both parks and the bandstand. The boys trimmed all the dead limbs and trimmed trees in the park. We also ordered the 4 picnic tables on May 11th, but they're not going to be here till probably July. I don't know why, but it's, I guess, because of COVID.
They're made of lumber.
No, they're composite.
Oh, okay. No excuse.
They're plastic or whatever. And then we also, we have been working on the Bridge of Flowers because I know you guys were working about it. So the guys went up last week and they picked about a ton truck of weeds and brush off the flower beds that are on Duffy Hill side. I pressure washed the bridge on the sidewalls and the top of it was all black. We got that all off. We did not pressure wash the deck because it's all sand and we've tried that and all it does makes the weeds grow more. So the guys pick weeds and we swept the bridge off. I water the flowers every day. That the girls from the school donated their time to put the flowers in. What was Kim St. Pierre and Lisa Robotoy. They did that a couple of weeks ago. What else did I see here? Regarding I know Eli asked about the lights on the Echo Park. Dave Weston went up there and checked all the power to find out the lights are all burned out. We called the distributor and you can't replace the lights. They have to replace the whole fixture. So I went on the website. It shows we have a 5-year guarantee. So I got a hold of James Gilmat, who was the contractor that did the Echo Park. He has ordered 3 new lights that will be replaced as soon as they get here. And we have also asked for a bid to, I don't know if you noticed on the side toward 108, the paint is all black from the water coming off the roof. We're gonna have them repaint that and hopefully put a downspout so we don't have that same issue in the future. As you notice, our signs are up, our speed signs are up on Orchard and Water Tower. Ken Santamore did we have to use a computer to upload all the information and we can get information off it, but I got to have Ken download it into my computer so I can go out on the site and get all the information of the speeds. It holds 90 days of data. What else? Also, we've done street sweeping in May. And I talked to my crosswalk guy. We were supposed to have crosswalks done this Thursday, but he called me at 4:15 this afternoon and canceled because his paint hasn't come in.
Ugh.
So we're still waiting for that. There's a shortage of white and blue crosswalk paint, which is a quick drying paint. So he'll call us maybe next week. I'm also meeting with Bethany Reimers tomorrow, so we can meet our Vermont Municipal Road Grant permit, which every town has to have it. It's regarding storm drain. We have about a dozen areas where our culverts drop out in the Missisquoi and we need to rip wrap them. So she's going to identify what ones we need to handle and to fix. I know we have 4 or 5 on Missisquoi. We have a couple on St. Albans. We have a couple on Weed Lane, one on St. Albans Street, and I think we have one over on Orchard.
Just so you guys know, Bethany's
Northwest Regional Planning.
Correct.
And she's been helping all the towns with this stuff. Also, the guys are getting ready for the sidewalk project, which we're going to have to relocate a water service on Lower Church Street to get behind the sidewalk. We're also changing out some manhole covers on Lower Church, Missisquoi, and Pleasant that are old ones that have holes in them. So the sewer guys want to get those out so they don't get water infiltration in their sewer line to reduce their flow. That's about it. I believe Scott Goodhue will be starting next week on the sidewalk on Lower Church. Any questions?
Yeah, so when you sweep the streets, is it mainly just Main Street and the side streets in the village?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you
Is there any way that you can come down Golf Course Road or West Berkshire Road?
We can go just to our town limits.
Right, okay. I just
That's
noticed
obvious.
that headed towards, 108 north out of town, there's a lot of gravel and stuff on the side of the road, and I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know if you guys went out that far or not.
I don't know if Kenny
Not
go.
for motorcycles.
I know he goes as far as usually this up all the way up to Pleasant and comes around the backside, but I don't know if he hits West Berkshire. I can't answer that. I'll mention it to him next time we sweep.
Next time you're out this way, just check. You'll
Yeah.
see what I mean. There's quite a bit of gravel.
Right now, we're trying to get ready for the sidewalk project, get those stuff done first, get those utilities moved and, rehab before we have the sidewalk guys come in. And then we have our on the 17th, we have our bid for the paving project. I asked 4 paving contractors to get a price and only one showed up for the pre-bid.
As far as the eco park goes, do we have funds in reserve for a gutter? Can't be that much money.
I don't think there's that much money. Maybe
Yeah,
John
we actually budgeted for that in the electric department as part of the 2021 budgeting process. We had discussed repainting that section of the building because we weren't exactly sure why it was happening at the time that we were having the discussions, I don't think, but there's just that one side of the building that faces Route 108 or West Enosburg Road that has had some paint deterioration on it. So yes, we do have some funds available for that in the electric department.
Perfect. And then the last thing that I have is the speed signs. I've gotten a lot of compliments on those. They appear to be working.
Yep.
And then I've also gotten a couple people saying we should get some more for the opposite direction.
Well, what we do
Exactly.
we have extra anchors. What we're going to do after so many months, we're going to spin them around
Good.
so they head the other way. So we got 2 more anchors. So once we get these 2 locations, we can go 2 more locations with 2 more anchors, and we can just pick them up and bring them to another location. But we can pick them up, spin them, put them back in the anchor. So what's our plan was to have them go this for so many, like a month or 2, then we'll spin them the other direction on Orchard and Water Tower.
Yep.
The Orchard spin is obvious. Very obvious.
Yep. But you see a lot of brake lights.
Yeah, for sure. Gets people looking at their speed.
I know Berkshire called and wanted to know where we got them because their residents want them to have some now.
We purchased that from basically a grant, right?
It was some money that the state of VTrans that gave us for, I can't remember what it was for, John, but it was from VTrans.
Yeah, what happened was at the end of last year, at the end of 2020, the state of Vermont realized it had done much better financially through the pandemic than it thought it was going to. When March came in 2020 and virtually everything in the state, as in every other part of the country, shut down. And they got down to the last quarter of 2020, realized they actually had done much better financially than they thought they were going to. And so the state did a one-time, call it a grant, a donation, whatever you want. But the state basically divvied up some funds that they had in the transportation department that they were not anticipating they were going to have going into the last quarter of 2020. And they gave every municipality in the state a section of that. So they figured out, I don't know how they worked the formula, whether it was based on population or what, but they devised a formula in which they calculated, a certain percentage of that windfall and just donated it to each municipality. In our case, for the village of Enosburg Falls, we ended up getting approximately $12,000 that we were not anticipating, getting at the beginning of 2020 from VTrans. And so you guys, the Board of Trustees, during that last quarter of 2020, decided to use the bulk of that money to purchase 2 signs. And we didn't go thhrorough the whole 12. We came close. I don't know if Gary remember the exact amount, but
I think it was like about 3,400 per sign, I think, John. I think we spent like 6,700 or something like that.
So around $7,000 approximately for the 2 signs. And we decided to start there. And then the balance of that we carried over into 2021.
Yeah, I thought so that was what my memory was on that too. So there's a couple of thousand left, because I remember we debated on whether or not to get 2 or to get 3.
That's
We have a
correct,
down payment.
except I would caution you to characterize it as there's a couple thousand left because it came from the Department of Transportation. It goes into our general fund, which means it gets rolled into your following year's revenues and helps to offset, whatever you had for expenses on your tax rate. So that money was rolled into the 2021 budget and then therefore, helped to offset our budget for 2021.
So essentially the remainder of that chunk of money is spoken for based on the budget.
2021 budget, that's
Okay.
correct.
All right, does anybody have any other questions or comments for Gary? All right, sounds like you got a lot to do this summer, Gary.
Yep.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
See you later.
Okay. Next up on the agenda, we have village facilities public access discussion.
Thank you, Sam. In your packet, you'll see from me a memorandum on this subject. As Vermont is getting very close to reaching the 80% population vaccination rate for residents that are 12 and older in the state of Vermont, it seemed like a good time to have a discussion with the Board of Trustees about what your thoughts were regarding opening village facilities to the public again. We are very close to reaching that 80% goal that our state government has said, at which point they would, and this is what I understand from our state, and this is what they are advertising through the Department of Health, that once we get to that 80%, they're going to remove all COVID-19 restrictions, period. We are getting very close to that number. So I'm wondering if the board wants to consider reopening some of the village facilities. I did a sort of a bullet print beneath the bottom part of my memo of some subjects that I thought, the board could think about, discuss as part of this. Currently, if you're not fully vaccinated, you need to wear a mask if you're indoors in a public space. That's what the guidelines from our state government currently say. We have polled employees, village employees, regarding their vaccination status to date. I believe that there are probably a few employees that are not going to get vaccinated. That is their choice. It would be very difficult to force them to do it. I'm not going to say impossible, but There are challenges to trying to force employees to get vaccinated. So, I think it's probably best if we don't go down that road. So I think by the end of this month anyway, we believe that all of the employees that are going to get vaccinated will be vaccinated and will have met the 14-day criteria if you get either the Moderna or Pfizer vaccination, which requires 2 shots, not 1 shot. If you get the Johnson & Johnson, that's just 1 shot. So we think that by the end of this month, all the employees that are going to get vaccinated will be vaccinated and will have met that 14-day criteria if they had to get the 2 shots rather than 1. But as I said, there will be a few employees that I think are just not going to get vaccinated, and that's their choice. Based on those facts, where, I think staff wanted to ask the question of the board, what your thoughts were about opening village facilities to the public again, and some other things to think about in regards to that are, if we do it, do you want to make the requirement that people from the public would need to wear masks coming into the building, even if they tell us they're fully vaccinated? The reason for the question is we have no way to really know if they're fully vaccinated or not. And we can ask them, and if they say yes, there's no way for us to really verify that. So it's just a question we would need answered by the board as a policy decision. Would you still want people to wear masks if they came into the buildings from the public? And then also, another thing to think about is a date. If you do decide you want to reopen to the public prior to reaching the 80% mark, at which point the state says they're removing all COVID-19 requirements anyway, what kind of a date would you be looking at for staff to start, being prepared for that, removing signage and allowing people to come in? So, just some topics, some things to think about around that subject, and happy to answer any questions if I'm able to from the board, and certainly eager to hear any comments you have yourselves about the subject.
With the box on the door at the office, what are the reasons for people to come in? Other than, to pay the electricity bill and
Crab about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, sometimes they have questions. They're, I'll use myself as an example. I don't, and I'm making this up, I don't think I used 20,000 gallons of water this month, and I would like you to be able to tell me why this is on my bill. Well, I can't do that if I just put it in the slot.
right. Right. Okay.
Right, but you can do it on the phone. I think the short
I could,
answer to Leonard's question is, as we've discussed many times over the past year or so, there isn't really any service or any discussion that people are not having with the village or with staff members in the village the way things are right now. We have multiple ways we can be reached as staff members, and we are more than happy to have conversations with people about, any issue or problem that they're having. And if they let us know, we do let people into the building. If they tell us, look, I really need to get in, I don't have another way to make this payment or something, we do let them into the building as long as they tell us, there's no other way for me to do this. I really need to come in. Will you please let me in? We have been doing that for people, but there's also, the telephone, there's emails, as I said, there's really nothing that we're not providing that we currently I didn't say that right. There's nothing we're not providing that we aren't currently providing already through the systems that we put in place since COVID-19 struck us. But what maybe the one thing people aren't getting is, I think, the emotional satisfaction of being able to stand, face to face and talk to somebody and, give them a piece of their mind if that's what they
Good or
want to
bad,
do.
but
Right.
it is a
Seems
public
Good or
like-
office.
bad if they want
That
to
seems
yell
like a
at
barrier
us.
to the community to have the offices locked.
Yep,
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, I recognize there's an emotional issue that's involved in that people just want things to go back to normal. They're tired of living like this. And, that's not really a service issue. It becomes more of an emotional issue. But I recognize it is an issue. I mean, we're
What
human
was the foot
beings.
traffic like?
Prior to COVID-19.
Yeah, did you have hordes of people coming in or just people once
Yeah,
in a
we
while?
we had pretty steady traffic. Most people in this area seem to like to pay their electric bills in person.
I'm
We
one of them.
we got a lot of foot traffic all day. But prior to COVID-19, we had a lot of foot traffic pretty much all day long in and out of the office.
You partially just answered the question.
I think it should be opened.
I think it should be open, the sooner the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think being able to go in person is important. As far as asking people if they're vaccinated, I think that's personal to a lot of people.
The honor system works.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be asking customers that come into my business if they've been vaccinated or not. But yeah, we would expect them to follow the state's guidelines. And as far as mandating our employees getting vaccinated, I think that's a big no-no. Nobody should ever mandate an employee to get vaccinated. But I would like to see it as open as soon as June 15th. Yeah, I don't know what the rest of the board thinks, but if staff could prepare for the 15th, if that would give you enough time.
Yeah, and
We're pretty close to our 80%.
it was like 79.2 when I checked a day ago or 2 days ago.
So it may even get to 80% before the 15th, who knows?
Yeah, and you could definitely put signs up that say, masks recommended, or,
And the if you're not feeling well sign,
yeah,
the cough and but as far as the masks are concerned, and I'm an asthmatic, with this heat and people with respiratory problems, I think that the people who feel they should have a mask on will have it on, but I don't know that we should be telling them that we think they really need to, because it's not easy.
And I think the whole point of getting vaccinated for a lot of people is they don't have to wear their mask in public.
We
Okay,
need to
so
vote or something?
well, yeah, I think the board should have a formal motion on this and whatever conditions you want as part of that motion. But what I'm hearing is June 15th, open to the public unless we meet the 80% statewide, in which case all restrictions regarding COVID-19 supposedly are going to be lifted by the state government anyway, in which case we'll be required by the state to reopen anyway, as far as I understand. Now, I have to say, I'm very curious to see what our state government is really going to do once we reach that 80%, because our state government still has a lot of their own facilities, not only closed to the public, but closed to their own employees as well. And a huge portion of our own state employees are working from home, have not been in their office spaces in over a year. And they're still doing that today, right now. So I'm really curious to see what our state government is really going to do when they hit that 80%. If they're going to tell everyone else, okay, you're gonna open your buildings, all your facilities, no mask requirements, no nothing, everything is gonna go to normal. Okay, state of Vermont, are you gonna walk the walk or
Take
what?
your pajamas off and come to work.
Right, I'm really curious, because
Yeah, no, there'll be a lot of really interesting things, and some positions will become you know, maybe permanently remote positions. But we've been in schools, and generally speaking, there's been a lot of safety there, you know, and what we're told in the school systems is not do anything stricter than the state's saying with the guidance. And the governor did say that the state of emergency will be lifted shortly after the 80% is what he was saying. So it also means that we're gonna have to start thinking about in-person trustees meetings at some point soon, pretty soon.
Amen.
yeah, well, if the 80% or I shouldn't say if, when it happens, I think that's it. I mean, if there are no more restrictions, then there's no reason that you can't enter a room and sit closer than 6 feet. You know, if they're gonna lift, I mean, that's what I'm understanding is the state, and they're advertising this on the radio, on television. The Department of Health is saying, when we get to 80%, all COVID-19 restrictions are lifted. So go get your vaccinations so we can return. That's the language that they're using on the radio.
Enosburg said over 80%, according to the Vermont Department of Health.
I think this should be a discussion that we should have. Right now would be a good time about when we're going to hold in-person trustee meetings again.
Yeah, well, I think 80%, when you get the 80%, you're going to be able to do it. That's my understanding.
So perhaps if we're at 80%, the meeting on the 22nd could be in person. And if not, then it would probably be that first meeting in July.
Okay.
That's probably a good guess. There's not, I mean, I don't know
Well, it's a
how,
guess.
yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take the state to get the remaining few thousand people that the state has estimated they need to get to the 80%. But it's very possible, you know, they might get it before your next meeting. Maybe Sam and I should have a conversation if we get to the 80% before June 22nd. And, you know, we can make the decision as to whether we want to try and hold that meeting, you know, physically in person, or whether you want to go for another meeting on Zoom and then do it in July. I can also tell you that VEPSA, Vermont Public Power Supply Authority, is right now intending to hold their first live physical board of directors meeting since the pandemic, their first meeting in July, which would be the first Wednesday in July for VEPSA board meetings. And they are, I can tell you, Ken Nolan, the general manager for VEPSA, is committed to doing that. He wants the board of directors for VEPSA to meet physically in Waterbury, in the meeting room and down in VEPSA, their first meeting in January. So
yeah, I vote as soon as we hit 80, we meet in person again.
Same.
Okay. So as far as opening the office facilities up, we need to make a motion on that. So I guess what we're thinking is June 15th for a date. Anybody
or 80%.
or 80%, whichever comes first. Anyone
Okay.
entering needs to go by the state guidelines. So if they're not vaccinated, wear a mask.
Okay, so we should put signs up saying, until we get to the 80%, if you're not vaccinated, please wear a mask.
Right, or just say anybody entering needs to follow the state mandated guidelines. That way, if they change, then
Yeah, you just have to say as the state mandates.
Yeah.
Covers it all.
Yeah, people are gonna need more direction than that, though.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to recommend to say, like, if you're unvaccinated, to put a mask on
We're not gonna be able to screen anybody, and we're not gonna be able to.
No,
pick
Right,
them
right.
out.
It's up to
It'll,
them, but
right,
at
it'll
least
be
we've
on the
said it.
honor system, but at least the language will be there. If you're
Will
not
be covered.
vaccinated,
Anybody
please
entering-
wear a mask.
Anybody entering the village offices needs to comply with state of Vermont health mandates.
Right, and that'll go for employees too. And that's another part of this. So
Yeah.
for employees that choose not to get vaccinated until we get to the 80%, they will have to continue to wear a mask if they're
That's fair.
closer than 6 feet, or they're traveling in a vehicle with another employee, any of those kinds of conditions.
well, we're so used to it now that it's like second nature.
Yeah, I know.
I still like put it on, even I'm vaccinated, and I still just like put it on and go places and just don't even think about it.
So do we, maybe as a part of the motion too, we could include a statement that the Village of Enosburg Falls will follow all state guidelines regarding COVID-19 requirements going forward, something to that effect. So then we don't have to, have another discussion with you guys.
Yeah.
If something changes during the course of the summer, for example, if we start going backwards again and the state, whatever, say the end of August, the state says, okay, we've got a problem, our numbers are going up again. We need to start putting into effect some more COVID-19, restrictions. You guys will have that in place already if you make that statement that staff will just continue to follow whatever state guidelines and mandates are made as a result of COVID-19.
I'd say that's fine. So those are the
Okay.
only three things that we need to cover under the motion.
So I've got June 15th or 80% for reopening to the public. If you are not vaccinated, we will ask you to put a mask on if entering a village facility. And the statement that the village will follow any and all state mandates or requirements regarding COVID-19 going forward.
Should we tack
And-
on something to the nature of the Board of Trustees meetings will be held in person after we hit that 80%?
Yeah, we could, if you'd like.
And we're 1 point away.
Oh, whoa.
I just checked with Vermont Biz. Vermont within 1 point of 80% goal.
Good enough.
So we'll probably hit it. I think that this maybe with that number isn't as relevant, but it would have to happen before the meeting is warned.
Yeah. I'd say that's fair, yeah. Like if we hit 80 over the weekend when the meeting's warned on a Friday and the meeting's on a Tuesday.
Yep.
then we'll still hold it Zoom. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, all right, so I need a motion to open the village offices on the 15th of June, or unless 80% of Vermonters are vaccinated, whichever comes first. All people entering the village offices need to comply to state mandates. The Village of Enosburg Falls will also comply to all state mandates. And once we hit 80%, then the village trustee meetings will be held in person. I need a motion. Sandy with the first, is there a second?
I move we do it as stated.
All right, is there a second?
I will second that.
Leonard with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye. Or
Those opposed,
amen.
nay.
Right?
Was that a nay, Eli?
No, this is an aye.
Okay, good. I've never heard a nay before, so I don't know.
He has low bandwidth, so.
Okay, there's that. Next up, village signatories resolutions.
You want to take that, Abby?
Yep. Hi, everyone. In reviewing our banking resolutions, it's determined that we haven't updated them since 2019. So they need to be updated with the change in trustees as well as the change in the director of finance position. I specifically need access because right now I can't access anything with the bank accounts, which makes some elements of my job difficult. So what needs to happen is we have 3 main operating accounts at the moment. Community National Bank is where our operating accounts are. They will need a motion of something in the minutes, and very specific that it applies to all of our accounts there, which right now we have our operating and checking account, 2 sweep accounts, and a savings account. And I'm also going to need to be granted online access so that I can access the bank account online. And that also ties into our direct deposits with payroll. People's Trust Company, we just have the line of credit for for the FERC relicensing that we just drew off of. I'll need a motion to be added to that, as well as the new trustee members. If you look in your packet, I did kind of outline exactly who needs to be removed and who needs to be added. And I would also need online access there as well. And same thing with TD Bank. We have a couple of savings accounts with TD Bank, and they just need the list of who needs to be removed and who needs to be added, which is all outlined in your packet. And I did also have John include just kind of the old resolutions that are on file to show who is on there and who needs to be added. And then once the motion is made and the minutes are done, I'll provide the minutes to each bank. They'll update the resolutions, get them back to us. Hopefully by then we'll be meeting in person, and I will have everyone sign off, and you can designate who you want to have authority to do what within the banks.
All right, perfect. So you just need a motion to appoint you as a signatory, as well as Eli and Sandy, remove Jason, Cindy, and Matt. Or
if you look, Sam, under each bank, I think for the most part, they're all going to be identical. Adding myself, Sandy, Heather also is not on any of the accounts yet either, and Eli, and removing Guy, Jesse, Jason, and Matt. And I didn't see where Cindy was on any of the accounts.
These haven't been updated in a while then, huh?
No, and realistically, hopefully we'll start staying on top of that moving forward. Anytime there's a change in trustee, we really should be updating this. Not that anyone would ever do anything with the bank accounts, but just to be safe, these should be updated every time we have a change in board members or personnel.
Okay,
I'm surprised the bank hasn't called.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that it went as long as it has without them being updated, without the bank saying something.
Okay, can I wrap it all up into one motion covering all 3 banks and all the accounts under each one?
Yep, I think that should be fine, just as long as it's in the minutes and just covers this. I would just say each bank specifically, and then list everybody who's off and on, and then the online access. And I believe we should be good to go based on my conversations with the banks.
Okay, if everyone's good with this, I'm going to start describing the motion. Be a mouthful,
It's a long one, sorry.
Okay, so what I have so far is I need a motion to appoint Abby Miller as a signatory, as well as Heather Moore, Eli Guzda, Sandy Ferlin, remove Jason LaRose, Matt Miner, Guy Bro, and Jesse Woods from all accounts in banks, Community National, People's Trust, and TD, as well as access to online accounts. Is that it?
That
Okay.
should do it.
I need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Heather has the first. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Leonard with the second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Okay, thank you, Abby.
Thank you.
Thanks, Abby.
So I'm assuming once the minutes are accepted at the next meeting, then you can forward them to the banks and then they'll come back to us for signing.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's probably going to be another 3 to 4 week process just because of that. But as soon as we get them in the minutes, I'll get them to the bank. They'll prepare the paperwork, get it back to me. I'll present it to you guys to review, sign, and then we'll get it back to them, and then we should be good to go.
But in the meantime, you should be able to operate, okay?
Yes, Lori has access at the moment, so we've been kind of tag teaming what needs to be done, so everything is getting done as it should be.
All right, perfect. Okay, well, thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, up next, we have manager's report.
All right, thank you, Sam. First, I just want to let the board know that as was discussed through the 2021 budgeting process, I have drawn down funds from our electric department's line of credit in an amount equal to our current hydro FERC relicensing expenses. And to date, this comes out to $208,082. As a reminder, the purpose of doing this is to help with the cash flow issues in the department, in the electric department, we've been experiencing over the past several years, which is mainly a result of the FERC relicensing efforts. These are, some fairly hefty expenses that we're taking on an annual basis. It's not something that, is expected to go on forever, as we've spoke about many times. This is expected to be a 5-year project. In order to get our FERC relicense established for our hydro facilities. But, during that 5-year period, there are some significant expenses that we're incurring as a result of that effort. So we're trying to help resolve the cash flow issues we're having in the department by taking a loan or trying to capitalize those expenses and spread them out over a longer period of time. So the current line of credit that we have with People's Trust calls for the funds to be paid back in full within 12 months. So we've got some time. This just occurred the end of May when we did this drawdown. So we have some time to think about how we want to handle this, but it's very possible over the next year, we'll most likely have to have a discussion with the bank about making this a longer term note. Otherwise, we don't really accomplish what we were hoping to accomplish unless we just every year keep, paying it back and then drawing down on the line of credit again immediately. It'd probably make more sense to, spread the note out over a longer term. But for now, at least, we have more cash in hand for the department. The other thing we need to think about, and we have Steve Farman from VEPSA's staff working on our behalf on, is whether or not we may need to do another rate increase in 2021 for our electric department to also help shore up the cash flow issues we're having in electric. And that, could also ease at least a part of the problem as well. So I just wanted to make the board aware I have drawn down $208,082 on that electric department line of credit. It's in our accounts, and just needed to make you guys aware of that. So next thing is
John, I have a question on that.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, wasn't there some discussion to see if taking a loan out on a line of credit could be used towards a rate increase case? Was this qualified for that?
Towards a rate increase? You mean to possibly offset doing a rate increase?
No, what I mean was like the case, like a rate case study to see if these funds can be used for a future rate case study. I know before Matt had left, there was some discussion about that.
You mean like the legality of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we did that. We did that due diligence over the spring. We had discussions with our attorney, Eli Emerson from Primer Piper, Eggleston and Kramer. They're the firm that represents us in our electric department. We also brought Steve Farman into those discussions from VEPSA as well. And at the conclusion of that, Eli told us that we do have the right and the jurisdiction to draw down on that line of credit at this time.
Awesome, that's good. Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Yeah, and I've got that in writing from Eli.
Got a good name.
That's right. Next thing, I want to give you guys an update on the disconnect moratorium. So once again, the Vermont Public Utility Commission has extended the electric disconnect moratorium within the state of Vermont. So that means they're forbidding any electric utility to disconnect a customer from electric service, regardless of, delinquencies or anything else. So now they have moved that moratorium extension to June 30th. That is the current schedule that the PUC has for the ending of the moratorium. And we'll wait and see come June 30th, whether they extend it again or not. They're gonna have, if we get to that 80% though, by the end of June, they're gonna have I don't know what kind of leg they're gonna have to stand on anymore.
The
to tell
governor talked
electric-
today about the, yeah, sure, the word has just escaped my mind, people who don't pay their rent. And
Squatters.
Moratorium on,
the
on
moratorium on being able
renting.
to,
Eviction.
get people out of your rental property is going to go away very shortly.
It's 30 days after the state of emergency expires, is what he had said a week or two ago in a Q&A.
Because he had something to say about it today.
Yeah.
I know if I can add on that, there is a training on Wednesday that I believe Lori is going to be attending that's kind of outlining all of this and the programs that they're setting forth that touch base on the renters as well as the utility aspect of it.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna need to do something. It's for people who have are in a hardship, that have been in a hardship. It's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna be pretty intense, probably for them.
Yeah, and I can sympathize if that's real. I don't know that that's real for all the customers out there, though.
Not 100%.
Yeah,
Sure, probably not 100%, but there's
Yeah.
definitely some people that like this has really helped them substantially, I'm sure.
So just wanted to, make the board aware of that the moratorium has been extended again. It's currently June 30th. And we'll wait and see come June 30th, what the state decides on that. And then lastly, wanted to give the board an update on Vital Village scoping study activities. So as a result of the public feedback that we received at the alternatives meeting, April 28th, and then a subsequent management team meeting in the beginning of May, there have been many updates made to the Vital Village page on the village website. Generally, the several members of the management team have been involved in cleaning up the organization of the Vital Village website and hopefully making it easier to understand. It seemed like the website itself was creating confusion to some people in the community about where we were with the Vital Village process and the fact that the master plan and the scoping study were two different efforts, although related to each other, not directly intertwined, and that the master plan effort was completed and finished. And that was finished in June of 2019. But when you looked through the website, we could see how people were, getting confused because it wasn't really delineated that clearly. And I think that came through loud and clear at that April 28th alternatives meeting. So that's something over the past several weeks the management team has been spending a lot of time on. If board members are interested in that, I encourage you to take a look at that Vital Village page on the village's website. And, I think you'll see that it's been cleaned up a lot. A lot of changes have been made to that. In addition, we decided that as part of that process and the public outreach process, which was discussed with the board previously, and you'll recall you signed or gave me the authority to sign an extension on the contract with Dubois and King to extend that contract from July 30th until October 31st to give the village more time to do some additional public outreach to the community regarding the scoping study. So also as part of that, we have devised a survey that is also on the website. We have posters up now as of this morning at the Pearly Block advertising the survey and also advertising the 3 different alternatives that were presented at the April 28th meeting, and asking people in the community to log on to the website and to take the survey. At our last meeting, Sandy Furlan had volunteered to also go door to door to downtown businesses with a flyer regarding this same information, and physically hand businesses a flyer asking them to please look at the alternatives that are both on the posters in the Pearly Block window and listed on the village's website. And to, again, please take the survey indicating what their preferences were for those alternatives. And within the survey, there is areas where you can mix and match. And, you know, if you like one part of something and one alternative and a different part of something and another alternative, there are ways within the survey that you can sort of mix and match between the different alternatives to show what your preferences are for, you know, possible improvements in the downtown area. There is also in the survey a none of the above option where, you know, if you choose to say you don't want any of the improvements in any of the alternatives made, you can select that as well. Because we know that at least it sounded like there might be at least a few people that may choose, you know, to not have any improvements made in the downtown and leave it as is. So that is also listed as an option within the survey, just so you're aware.
And John, there were open-ended questions too, for people just to type their thoughts. I saw.
So that survey is up. It is on our website. As I said, the posters are up in the Pearly Block as of this morning. Sandy is going to get busy in the next week or so to hand deliver those flyers out.
I've got the
to
list
people.
made.
Yeah. I also had a discussion with EBA at their meeting earlier this morning about this and gave them all the same information. So the buzz should start getting around the community, I think, now pretty quickly, and hopefully we'll start to get some results on the survey. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Maybe posted to the Facebook page.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch all of that, Eli.
Then can a link to that survey be posted to the Facebook page?
To Facebook. I'm not sure. Yeah, we do have a municipal Facebook page. We can look into it if that's something the board would like.
Yes, please.
It's a very easy way to disseminate information in a hurry.
Yep.
Okay, we'll look into it and see if we can do that. See if we can arrange that.
I would be happy to email members at the Enosburg schools to see about them putting it through their channels as well. Share it with staff, share it with students, and maybe they can put it on their Facebook page as well.
Okay. And so in closing, I would just again encourage everyone to take a look at the changes on the website. And if you have time, please spend a few minutes taking the survey. And I think that's it for manager's report.
And the posters look great in the window.
Yeah.
Very easy to read, very visible, nice.
Thank you, Sandy. It was Gary Denton and Lori Stanley who put the posters up this morning. I will pass that compliment on to them.
Okay, thank you, John. The only other thing we have on tonight's agenda is other business. Anybody have anything? Any other business? Nobody has anything?
I did
Well-
mine already.
What's that? So one of the reasons I was asking about, funding with regards to that money that we used for paying for those lights is it was brought up at one point that not many of the streets have speed limit signs in general. And it's just something that maybe we could consider in the future of increasing just regular standard, this is the speed limit. Bring that up just for future considerations, maybe when we think of next year's budget or whatever. Or as an idea, if we get another windfall, if the state decides to just hand out money.
That'd be cool.
Do you know streets in particular, Heather? Because they should have speed limit signs on it. And the ones that I've noticed, I've pointed out to Kenny LaPlante, our foreman, and we have put some up since I've been here. When I noticed there were not speed limit signs on streets. Can you think of any offhand that don't have any?
I'll take a notebook and take an early morning survey.
Yeah, if you see them, let me know. I'll also mention this to Gary and Kenny that you believe that there are some village streets that don't have speed limit signs on them, and I'll ask them to, take a patrol around. It's possible maybe some have been stolen and just nobody's caught on to it. I know that happened on Church Street a couple of years ago. There were speed limit signs there and somebody stole them, and it went for a while before anybody caught on that, oh yeah, those speed limit signs are gone. There used to be speed limit signs there. What happened to them? So I had Kenny put them back up again. But I wonder if that's what's happening. Maybe some people are stealing them. And then, we as staff haven't noticed that they're gone now.
Yeah.
But I'll talk to Kenny and to Gary on this too, and ask them to, as they're driving around, keep an eye open for that. If they see a street that doesn't have signs on it, to get on that, and because really they need to be marked. I mean, they need to be marked with speed limits.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was something that was brought up. Oh shoot, I have because we talked about the street noise and the speeding and stuff a while ago. I had tried a couple of times to connect with Ellen. Our schedules just did not match up at all. So I'm trying to think more creatively again, because as the weather's nicer and stuff, there's been a lot of really intense revved engines and a lot of speeding that we've been noticing, as is typical of this time of year.
Yeah, I've been hearing it too. I mean, where I live,
There's a few really hot vehicles.
Yeah, it's
really intense.
It's not everybody, but there's maybe I would say a dozen people, and I don't know, where they live, or they may not even live in Enosburg Falls. They may live in other towns around us, but they're coming here to do their hot rod driving. And I know it's a problem on Pleasant. I can tell you it's a problem on Orchard Street too. And I live off from Orchard Street. I don't live on Orchard Street, but I live off from Orchard, and I can hear everything that happens on the west end of Orchard Street. And yeah, I know it's frustrating. And you guys know I've talked to Sheriff Langevin many times over this spring about the problems with traffic and just, people with these bored out customized exhaust systems. And it's amazing. You see this little Honda Civic, and then the guy revs his engine. It sounds like he got 20 lawnmowers, driving down the street. It's this tiny little Honda Civic. It's, I don't know. It is a serious problem. I understand and sympathize, and I'm frustrated with it too.
There's a lot of horsepower out there right now too.
There is, yeah. And I think like I definitely have been appreciating the work that the sheriff's department's put into it, but I don't think that's the full solution, as I stated way back when we talked about it. But I just want to bring that up. I've been kind of thinking about it. I've been trying to have conversations with Ellen, and it's not on her or me specifically. It's just we haven't been able to get our agendas to line up. But happy to talk to anybody at any time that wants to try to problem solve what we can do in our community.
There's someone on the Water Tower Road. They told me they were afraid to mow their lawn. The cars are coming up so fast and they live kind of on a corner.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm scared to mow my lawn.
Yeah, I've definitely heard stories. I remember, I think this was at a joint meeting a couple of years ago, like people having to put stuff, like really large items next to their mailboxes and stuff because their mailboxes kept getting hit. And
this has been mailbox
safety for
week.
students. A lot of mailboxes this week.
Well, 2 on North Main Street, just 3 nights ago.
I thought I heard something.
Yeah. That's a federal offense, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any other business? Assuming that we're done with the first business. All right, if that's it, then I'll hear a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Sandy
I'll
with the
second
first,
that.
Leonard with the second. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Okay. Have a good evening, everyone.
All right,
You as
great.
well.
Okay.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.